Now for the moment of truth. Let's test the weight. Wow. I am so glad I got this on camera. Hey everyone, it's Lindey. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are in my downstairs workspace at my shipping station because I wanted to show you guys how I ship small items like cosmetics to keep them from breaking while keeping the shipping costs as low as possible. So now if you've seen other videos on my YouTube channel about selling on eBay, you'll know that I really like selling in the health and beauty categories, and I do sell a lot of cosmetics. And I frequently get a lot of questions about how exactly to ship cosmetics because shipping them incorrectly could result in damaged merchandise arriving to buyers. Especially now that we're in the hot summer months, a lot of cosmetics really can't withstand heat without getting damaged, so knowing how to ship them properly is imperative to good customer service. But then the same time with merchandise like cosmetics, sometimes we really need to pay attention to our bottom line. That means that we need to keep our shipping supplies as cheap as possible, and we don't want to end up over-packaging items, which leads to overpaying for shipping labels due to weight. When I'm selling cosmetics, my goal is to keep the shipping at a 4-ounce shipping label max because that is the cheapest first-class shipping option. So today I'll be going over the different shipping supplies that I use for shipping small items. I'll also demonstrate how to ship a wide variety of cosmetics so that they don't arrive damaged to your buyer while still keeping the shipping cost low. Okay, so now let's get started talking about the different kinds of packaging that I use as well as packaging materials. So there are 3 types of packages that I use. The first one that I use is just a standard bubble mailer. This one in particular is only 4 inches by 6 inches, so it is very small. You can get them a little bit larger, but something that I have learned regarding shipping small items like cosmetics is the more area that there is to move, the more risk of damage. So I like to use the smaller bubble mailers for things like cosmetics because there's less room in the packaging for things to move around and break. The next packaging item I always make sure to have on hand are these 6-inch by 4-inch by 3-inch boxes. These are my favorite size box next to the 8-inch by 4-inch by 3-inch boxes. If I'm selling things like skincare or hair care, I really like the 8-inch by 4-inch by 3-inch. But for things like cosmetics, I really like the 6-inch by 4-inch by 3-inch box because it is smaller, it weighs even less than the 8-inch one, and it is cheaper. And these are really the perfect size for things like lipsticks and foundations. And then the third product that I always have on hand for shipping is the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll. Now this is a very sad, skinny roll of Scotch Flex and Seal. It used to be a 50-foot roll, but I use it almost every day. I am not kidding. I was first introduced to the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll almost 2 years ago when Scotch 3M actually reached out to me and asked me if I would be willing to try out a brand new product that they had and do a video review on my YouTube channel. So I agreed. They sent me the product. I did a review, and this product rocked my socks off. If you're newer to my channel and you never saw that Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll review video, I will make sure to link it down in the video description below. But this product is absolutely amazing. It has a triple layer of protection, and you actually cut it to fit the product that you're shipping, and it adheres to itself, so there's no tape necessary. Now, when I first discovered this product, it was a lot more expensive than it is now. The price has come down a lot. A 50-foot roll used to be a little over $50 on Amazon, but now a 50-foot roll is only around $32. So now, because of the 3-layer of protection and the fact that it is waterproof, that's right, it's waterproof. When it's sealed up, it doesn't matter if it lays out in the rain, the goods inside are safe. Now, because the price is even lower than it used to be, this is a real contender when compared to a standard bubble mailer. Mostly because cosmetics are small and you can just cut this off and fashion it to fit the item that you're shipping. So you might be asking yourself, if you have small boxes and you have bubble mailers, Why would you need something like the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll? Well, my favorite way to use the Flex and Seal is if the box ends up adding too much weight. For example, let's say that you have 4 pods of eyeshadow. The weight of that eyeshadow is already pushing 4 ounces. And remember, we want to keep the shipping as cheap as possible. As soon as you put those in a box, which is what you would want to do to prevent breakage, the box weighs approximately 1 ounce. So now the combined weight of the eyeshadow with the box pushes it out of the 4-ounce shipping tier and into the 5-ounce shipping tier, which is more expensive. This would be the perfect circumstance that I would want to use the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll, because you can cut it to fit. It's more lightweight than the box. So now you can keep the shipping label at 4 ounces because the Scotch Flex and Seal doesn't weigh as much of a box, but you still get the extra added protection. Also, any supplies that I mention in this video, I will make sure to link those down in the video description below. I've spent a lot of time hunting for the best possible price on these shipping supplies that I use every single day. If you are in need of some of these shipping supplies and you decide to use my affiliate links down in the video description, I do greatly appreciate it. And hopefully I can save you a lot of time shopping around for the best possible price, because I already did all of that for you. Okay, now let's talk about packaging materials. The first material that I always have on hand is packaging paper. I really like packaging paper as my #1 filler product, because not only is it really super lightweight, but when you fashion it around the item inside the packaging, it does not move. It completely fills all of the dead space in the package if you're not using the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll. And if you're shipping something that could potentially break and leak, the packaging paper helps to absorb the mess. I also use bubble wrap. So I have a roll of bubble wrap here that's just simply by some rope and a curtain rod. That's ingenuity at its finest. Can't take credit for that. That was all my husband. That wasn't me. I wouldn't have been that clever. I like to use bubble wrap for things that could potentially break, such as glass bottles or eyeshadow palettes. And then I also use baggies. So I always talk about these bags. They are the twist tie bags that you could just get at Walmart. A box of 100 is roughly $3, and this helps prevent leaks in your packages. For instance, if you're shipping something that can melt, you want to make sure that it's bagged so it doesn't cause damage when your customer opens it. It also helps to prevent a mess caused by powders breaking. I almost always bag every and all cosmetic that I ship, just to prevent a mess if something happens during transit. And then of course, you do need some shipping tape. I like to use my eBay tape because I do get it for free with my eBay shipping supply coupon. But if you use the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll, you don't even need tape, which is another added bonus. Because remember, it just sticks to itself. The product is amazing. And of course, you also need a shipping scale so that you know how much your package weighs. Okay, now comes the fun part. I'm going to show you how I ship a wide variety of cosmetics using all of these supplies. So I know my shipping table is looking pretty rough, right? It's because this is years of wear and tear. I had put this pretty contact paper on here, but then using razors and tape sticking and everything else, this is years of wear and tear because I use this shipping table a lot. All right, so now we're going to start easy and work our way up. So now all of these items here are examples of things that would just be dropped into something like a bubble mailer. They really don't require a lot of added fluff. You don't need a lot of packaging materials. You might not even necessarily need to bag them. That would be things like sealed liquid lipsticks, eyebrow pencils or eyeliners, and small things that are in boxes, such as this tube of primer that's in a box and this gel eyeliner. It's just a pod of liquid eyeliner that is also already in a box. You could just basically slide each item into a very small bubble mailer, put the shipping label on, seal it up, and it's good to go. Same thing goes with eyeliners and brow liners. You can literally just slip it in there, seal it up, and it's good to go. Now, liquid lipsticks are already liquid, so you don't necessarily have to worry about them melting and leaking out. So liquid lipsticks, I do tend to just go ahead and slide into bubble mailers. They don't really need anything extra, but if it makes you feel more comfortable, maybe put liquid lipsticks into a small bag, tie it shut, and then slide it into a bubble mailer, seal it up, and have your shipping label on it. It's also a lot easier to put your shipping label on the packaging before you put the contents inside. All right, so now let's move it up a notch and talk about things like pressed powders or eyeshadow or brow palettes. When you have cosmetics that are pressed like this, you do have to take a little bit more care as to ensure that they are not damaged during transit. These are not items that I would just drop into a bubble mailer like this. I would want to give it some extra added packaging. Maybe I would want to use some extra bubble wrap just to make sure that it doesn't move around, and if the package drops, it doesn't break. Okay, so for these two items, I'm going to show you examples of the two ways that I would ship these. Now, I don't really favor one way over another. Really, it is just about shipping weight. It involves either using the bubble mailer or the box. If I have a heavier item, if I put it in a box, it might send it over 4 ounces. So I might be more inclined to do the heavier item in the bubble mailer and the lighter item in the box. So now, because these can break and make a mess, I will be sure to bag them. And I'm just basically going to wrap it in the bubble wrap. So now that the eyebrow palette is completely wrapped up in bubble wrap, I'm just going to place it into a box and seal it up, and it's good to go. It's not moving very much. The bubble wrap is kind of gripping the inside of the box. There is a little bit of movement, so if I wanted to, I could stick a couple of scraps of the packing paper in there just to finish filling it. Or I might even just stick it into a bubble mailer. Just like that. It's got the extra padding. I can actually squish it, and I'm still not even touching the palette. So I would consider that item safe for transit. So now the process is very similar for the pressed foundation. I would feel a lot more comfortable sending it in a box as opposed to a bubble mailer. So just to kind of get an idea, I put it inside the box and look, and it does only weigh 3.4 ounces without the bubble wrap. So I think we're going to be okay. If items are valued a little bit higher, I will also make sure to put them in a box as opposed to a bubble mailer. You know, let's say you have an $8 cosmetic. I'd be more inclined to want to put that in a bubble mailer over a box because the bubble mailer is the cheaper option. But this foundation is valued at a little bit more, so I want to make sure that I put it in a box, and it looks like the weight is going to work with me. So I'm just gonna bag it up, wrap it up in some bubble wrap, stick it inside the box. Now there is a whole lot of empty space, and I don't want that sucker to move. So I'm just going to rip off just a little bit of packing paper, stick it inside the box, fold it up, and now listen, it's not moving at all. That puppy is going to arrive safe, no doubt. And it still only weighs 4 ounces. All right, so now let's move this little journey in the liquids category. So I have a video talking all about shipping liquids so that they don't leak. I'll make sure to link that video for you. So this is going to be very, very similar to that. But I wanted to talk mostly about these because I want to demonstrate how using the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll is going to save me money shipping something like foundation. And I also wanted to go over shipping things like fingernail polish, because fingernail polish is something I get questions about constantly. And so I wanted to touch base on that as well. So now something like foundation, you have to be very, very careful. This is not a glass bottle, but it is plastic. And if it doesn't have enough protection, it will break. But remember, we want to keep the shipping as cheap as absolutely possible here. So the weight of this with the liquid, it's already pushing 4 ounces. It's I don't know if you can see, but it's 2.9 or 3 ounces. It keeps moving. And I want to keep it at 4 ounces if I can. Remember, I told you whenever I sell cosmetics, I want to keep the shipping at 4 ounces because that's the absolute cheapest. So I would prefer to ship something like this in a box because I want the added protection of the box. However, when I put it in the box, it's already 4.2 ounces and I don't even have any packaging materials in there yet. So this would be a perfect example of when I would come in and use the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll. So let me show you how I plan to package this and keep it at the 4 ounce weight. So again, just as a precaution, I do want to bag this. In the event that the container cracks or breaks during transit, I don't want my customer to open it up and have foundation just spill all over them. I don't want that to happen. The bottle is extremely thick. I think the likelihood of that happening is slim to none, but I still want to make sure that I do my best for it to arrive safely to the buyer. Now, even though this Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll does have some padding already, it's got that triple layer of protection that I mentioned, I am just a little extra cautious, especially when, you know, we have something that can leak. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit of extra bubble wrap. A little bit extra bubble wrap never hurt anybody, especially when you get it for a really good price. So now how the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll is going to work, you are basically just going to stick it on here and you are going to cut to fit. Of course, because I'm on video, I can't cut straight. So now all we're going to do is just fold it over, pinch the sides. And that's all there is to it. That foundation is packaged. It has just as much protection as a box does. There is no way that it's going to move around in there and break. I even put the extra bubble wrap on it. So now let's see how much it weighs. Well, looky there. We are at 3.8 ounces. So you guys see what I'm talking about? When you use something like the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll, it can help keep you in the lower shipping tiers versus the box. Remember, when I put it in the box, even without the packaging material, it was 4.2 ounces. And now I have the packaging material in there. It's bagged, it's extra bubble wrapped. I used the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll and it still only weighs 3.8 ounces. Now, if you really wanted to, you could take a box cutter and you could cut off all this excess. I'm not going to though, because it's not any extra added weight. If anything, it's just, you know, more space for the shipping label to fit on or for someone to grab and hold it. But I tell you, I really, truly love this product. Because of this product, I'm now able to save at least 20 cents, keeping it the 4-ounce shipping label without having to jump up to the 8-ounce label because I'm using the box and I'm still getting the same protection. So that is how I like to ship things like foundation and keep the shipping as cheap as possible. I love using the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll for that. All right, now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the nail polish. Nobody likes talking about shipping things like nail polish because technically nail polish is a hazardous material and it's supposed to go ground. Now, according to the official United States Postal Service memo policy, things like nail polish are flammable and considered hazardous, and they do need to go ground. They are not supposed to go airmail. However, and take this for what it's worth, because technically this video is for entertainment purposes only. You should always do your own research for these kind of things. I'm just telling you my experience from what I have learned over the years. I have spoken with a lot of different postal clerks over the years, and all of them have told me that a 1/2 ounce of nail polish is not a problem. I've been told that it's a lot easier to just say all things that are flammable need to go ground rather than state particular fluid ounce sizes. I've spoken with numerous sellers that still ship all of their nail polish first class if they're just shipping them in 1/2-ounce containers like this. So officially, nail polish does need to go ground, so ship at your own risk. Depending on the brand, if it's 1 or 2 bottles, I myself might also think that way. But if we're talking about shipping a large quantity of nail polish like this, definitely needs to go ground because it is considered hazardous. And if there's any breakage and it leaks, it can be a very, very bad thing. So with something like nail polish, we do need to take a lot of extra care in packaging because we do not want this sucker to break. Because remember what I said, it's considered a hazardous material. You do not want to be fined for damages by the United States Postal Service, so you need to take extra care. If that means double bagging it, adding extra bubble wrap, do whatever you have to do. But whatever you do, don't be the guy that just simply takes it and drops it into a poly bag like this. That ain't gonna protect nothing. So I am going to double bag it just as a precaution. I'm going to use 2 sheets. I'm doubling up on everything because this is hazardous. Going to do 2 sheets of bubble wrap in addition to the 2 bags. And I am most definitely going to use a very small box. So now let's see what the weight is. Look at that. We did all of that extra added precaution And we are still at 3.8 ounces. We're still at a 4-ounce label. Okay, now let's talk about extremely fragile cosmetics like these eyeshadow pods. So I already know from seeing these kind of items just arrive damaged in lots, these things get knocked loose really, really easily, and then they just break and shatter, and you don't want that to happen. The containers themselves are not really meant to withstand a lot of damage. The product inside is not really glued in with the tin. It's just kind of sitting in there. It is extremely fragile, and you know it's fragile. Even if you don't get any damage in your shipment, you know that it's fragile just by touching it. You can feel that it could just break at any slight drop. So items like this, I would sell in a lot, just like I'm showing you here. So what I will do is I will put all of them together and I will bag it. But now what I'm going to do with the bag is I'm going to make sure that they can't even really move around in the bag very much. I'm going to put them in the corner of the bag and I'm going to knot it and make sure that they are all as stuck together as possible so that they are not going to even move around in the bag. Those suckers are together, right? They're not going to move around in the bag. So already all 4 of them together are pretty sturdy. And now we're going to come in with the bubble wrap. Now I am just going to use 1 sheet of bubble wrap because I'm also going to use packaging paper to fill dead space. And because they are extremely fragile, I will go ahead and use the box. Same kind of idea with the foundation though. I'm going to check the weight, and as long as I'm not going over the 4 ounces with the box, I'm going to keep it in the box. If I do go over the 4 ounces, I am going to use the Scotch Flex and Seal shipping roll because that's still going to give me the added protection with all of the filler that I intend to use. So now I have those in the box and I'm going to add extra paper because this paper is going to make sure that those eyeshadows do not roll around at all. Can you hear it? There is no movement in that box. Those eyeshadows are not going anywhere. Now for the moment of truth, let's test the weight. Wow. I am so glad I got this on camera. Look at that. 4.0 ounces. That is exactly 4 ounces, and I'm able to keep it in a box. That is fantastic. Now, the riskiest items that you can ship, especially this time of year, are items that can melt, such as tubes of lipstick. Got a couple of different varieties here. This one is in a box. This one is just the tube. And then we also have stuff like stick foundations or stick highlighters. So I actually have a customer service nightmare that came from a stick foundation. So this is how I really learned how to take the proper precautions, especially during the summer, because these can melt just as well as lipsticks can. Now, I do have a video talking all about handling, shipping things that can melt like lipsticks in the mail. And I also talk about customer service issues surrounding that. So I will make sure to link that video, but just a really quick demo. I always make sure to bag anything that could melt and leak. And then now, because we are just concerned about it melting and leaking, I'm not going to concern myself with bubble wrap because I personally think that the best form of protection for items that can melt are boxes insulated with paper. So I'm just going to take this bagged item, I'm going to wrap it up, I'm going to stick it in the box, and hopefully that provides enough insulation to keep it from melting. Just for fun, let's see if we kept it under 4 ounces. 2.7 ounces. Take a look at that. See, I'm telling you guys, these boxes are extremely lightweight. As a matter of fact, let's see how much the box itself weighs. This is one of the boxes not being made up. So just the box itself only weighs 1.2 ounces. So you essentially have 2.8 ounces in weight for the product and still keeping it 4 ounces. I love these boxes for that reason. They do a lot of protection, but they're extremely lightweight. And then I would do the exact same process for shipping things like lipsticks, the exact same way. Try my best to insulate them with packaging paper and put them inside of a box. Something else that I do is I will write "no sunlight please" on the shipping label, so hopefully the postal carrier doesn't leave the box in direct sunlight and give it added heat to make make the contents inside melt. Now, before I get out of here, I do want to give just a really quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video, because Wholesale Ninjas is my favorite supplier for things like cosmetics for my eBay store. Everything that I demonstrated in today's video came out of the cosmetics palette that I received from Wholesale Ninjas. I did an entire unboxing of that palette on my YouTube channel, and I also showed the entire process for sorting almost 6,000 units. I will make sure to link those videos down in the description below in case you missed them. But Wholesale Ninjas does it right. They are the only liquidation company I've been able to find that I can get wholesale quality product for a liquidation price. They've been supplying merchandise for my eBay store for almost 2 years now because their quality control is always on point. I always get brand new merchandise, not a bunch of customer returns. And because there's always minimal damage and hardly any stickers to remove, I'm able to just open up the box and start listing right away. Because Wholesale Ninjas is a partner of my YouTube channel, I do have a coupon code for them. The code is Lindey25 and it gets you $25 off of anything on the Wholesale Ninjas website. I will make sure to link some of my favorite products on their site down in the video description below, along with that coupon code. Thank you again to Wholesale Ninjas for sponsoring today's video, and thank you guys for watching. If you like this video and videos like this, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up. That way I know it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to leave any questions or comments down in the comments below, and don't forget to check the video description because I will put a lot of useful information in there, as well as links to all of the supplies that I showed you today. Thank you again so much for watching. I will see you with my next video. Bye-bye.